Hey.
This?
We are?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Hey, guys.
Hi, everybody.
Let me
Welcome.
share this real quick. We gotta do one more. Gotta start this one.
We've got a couple technical
Alrighty.
things to do before we jump off here, but
That was
good.
Hey.
soon.
Yay.
Soon.
Are we all live?
Almost.
We can't press this here.
Yeah? Hi, everyone.
Hi, everybody.
What's up? Welcome to the Mystic Manor Expression Jam.
Woo! First ever.
Yeah, first of many. I'm Georgia. I live here at the Mystic Manor. I'm the project manager of the show Optimystic that we film and produce here, along with these two lovely people who are on the production team. We have Mia and Bradley.
Hey guys.
What's up, y'all?
And I'm also an actor, a writer, a director, a storyteller.
All the things.
All the things. And I just wanted to have this expression jam as a space where we could just flow and see what happens and love what arises, which is actually the theme for this week. Matt Kahn was the soul share guest of the last episode that we released of Optimystic, and it's also the title of one of his books. So yeah, love what arises.
It's kind of the theme of the episode, and we're also not sure exactly what's going to arise here, so...
Yeah, it's very free form and free flow. So for the first 2 weeks of these play shops, and specifically this expression jam, it's more of the Mystic Manor residents expressing and sharing our magic. And then in 2 weeks, when we officially launch the re-membership program, it'll be more interactive, where you all can get on and share your offerings and magic too. So it'll be more of an interactive expression jam where you guys can also come on. But yeah, for today, we'll just be playing some music, sharing some poetry, and see what happens. Personally, I am a little nervous because singing, I'm going to sing you guys a song here in a second, and singing is definitely like my first love, my first form of expression. Ever since I was a little kid, I've been singing, but it's always been the type of singing where I'm like in the shower, like alone in my room, and I haven't been fully expressed in it because of, various stories that I have in my head that really are just enabling me to not fully step into my power. So I am confronting my fear here in front of all of you. Thank you. And really, as I'm stepping into it and I'm feeling the jitters and I'm, thinking of all the things that could go wrong, I'm really just reminding myself that it doesn't have to be perfect. Expression doesn't have to be perfect. It's actually, the performances and is everything...
Yes, everything's great.
The performances and the expressions that I love the most are the raw ones, the authentic ones where people are just like sharing whatever comes through and
Bleeding on stage.
As
Matt Kahn says.
In the last episode that we released. And, maybe I'm not pitch perfect and I forget the words to the song and I mess up the chord progression, and it's like, so be it. That's totally fine. I want that to happen because then my fear will happen, and it's like, I'm still breathing. It wasn't that bad. And I can just do it again and again and again, and it's like, it's not a big deal. So
That's also one of the things I'm really excited about including you guys all in on, because I know here we've put out a lot of content, but I'm so excited to actually interact with the community and see you guys bring your offerings up. And also, allow just anyone, even if you're locked up in your house, quarantined, to have the chance to put yourself out there and put yourself in a really scary position where you're going to grow a ton and you're going to get to do something that is different than maybe you've ever done.
Totally. I know for me and for other people, like, there's kind of blocks around expressing and being creative because it's not, like, perfect, but it's not about that. It's not about that. And I really encourage all of you, once we start this remembership where it's more interactive, to just, like, come as you are authentically and share whatever it is, whether you're, you know, working on a piece of poetry, or you're writing a song, or you're covering a song. Like, it doesn't have to be perfect for you
Even
to show up.
Even a piece of art, like visual art, you can share through. The virtual stage is pretty adaptive.
We just wanna be interacting with you guys and sharing what we're creating, because it's such a... Everything is changing in our world right now, and I know what comforts me is content that is raw and authentic and, like, just totally heart-centered. And that's really what these expression jams are all about. So with that, I'm going to start us off with a song. I'm going to be covering Fia's Legacy of Light. And Fia is... she was on episode 2 that we released of Optimystic. She was the musical guest. And she is lovely, makes musical medicine, and
just like a badass angel woman.
Totally. And I really resonate with this song, so just see how it goes. Feel free to sing along if you know it, and here we go. I wake up every day with a smile on my face, feeling so blessed to be alive. I roll over and look at my beloved sweet face. I'm in awe of his beauty and grace. I've got another page in my book, and I will use it well. I will use it well, 'cause when I go, I want to know that I left it all on the table, that I gave it all I've got. I wanna be remembered as love, leaving behind a legacy of light. The life that I live, I feel honored to give in humble service to the divine. And I am grateful for every single breath that I may breathe, for the expansion and the gift of being me. I've got another page in my book, and I will use it well. I will use it well, 'cause when I go, I want to know that I left it all on the table, that I gave it all I've got. I wanna be remembered as love, leaving behind a legacy of light. A light, a light. I've got another page in my book, and I will use it well. I will use it well, 'cause when I go, I want to know that I left it all. I left it all on the table, that I gave it all I've got. I wanna be remembered as love, leaving behind a legacy of light.
have so many comments about how beautiful your voice is. And such a beautiful woman, and beautiful voice, and beautiful tune choice.
Thank you.
Everyone supports you and loves you.
Appreciate you all. Yay! Yeah, I love that song because it's just, I feel like it's so fitting to where we're at right now. Like, everything is at a standstill, and it's like, what are we doing? What is anything gonna, what are we doing? Like, everything is paused in the world. But at the same time, I view it as a sacred pause where it's an opportunity for the next page in the book. I have another page, and like, what am I gonna do with it? And spending that time, this precious time, as we're like at home, coming home. I feel like we're all ordered to come home, and it's like Mama Gaia being like, come home to yourself and reflect on what are the next steps for us all to take, and individually and as a collective group. And so I just I love that song because it's like, what are we going to be remembered for? Let's be remembered for love, for the impact that we make on this planet, and for the impact that we make on one another.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And opening our hearts and doing the things that are scary.
Exactly. And just like, choosing love over fear every time.
Paisley Q says beautiful.
Thank you, Paisley.
Scott Hardcastle says I love you guys.
Love you.
Love you, Scott.
Shout out Paisley and Scott.
Thanks for joining.
How do you feel after? Because she was pretty nervous.
I was so nervous. I was walking around the house looking at everyone just like, will you guys help me? But I'm proud of myself because I just stepped into it, and now I feel like, it wasn't that big of a deal.
That's how it always is.
Yeah, I mean, you have way more experience with performing in front of
Right.
people. Like, did you at first have like the same sort of stage fright?
It's kind of funny because, like, I've live streamed me playing music so many times to the point that I got used to that. But then, like, playing in front of people in real life is, like, what would scare me the most. Like, I can hop on a stream and, like, say or play anything, but it's, like, when I'm with actual people in real life, then it's, like...
It's another level.
That's when it gets scary to me. And, but since moving here, I've done that a lot more. So I've gotten, like, a lot better at it. But yeah, there was of course that initial like scared nervousness, but
it's all about exposure. Like, the more you expose,
the more you
yourself,
do it, it's just the more natural it becomes. For sure. Yeah.
You grow on stage.
You grow on stage.
Totally, you grow by doing.
Mia, do you want to go next, or should I go next?
You also have some poetry that you want to share. We could break up the songs with some poetry.
Yeah.
Okay. I can do... So I have 2 poems that I want to share. Maybe I'll share one now, we'll do another song, and I'll share one in a minute. Yeah. So this first one I actually wrote a couple of days ago. And it's called... Actually, let me check what it's called. Give me a minute. It's on my phone. I just wrote it, but it's called I Love My Darkness. And a lot of times I'll write literature or poetry or things like that are very flowery and it sounds like Ernest Hemingway or something, and the cadence is crazy and it's intense. And this one was really simple because I think it's less about making the words super complex and more about the message that just wanted to come through me. So I'll let it speak for itself.
Do you want to give a little background on like what inspired you to write this?
Yeah,
it's pretty. We're getting really raw here, people. We're putting it all on the table.
Like Fia, all on the table.
Yeah. We're leaving it all on the table.
Yeah, me and you. So George is my partner, and my best friend. And we had a really intense night one night where it was just a lot of shadow coming up. And I think that's just the reality of what's happening on the planet right now. With coronavirus, with everyone locked inside, the things that go without saying. But there was this moment of realization, and it was thanks to you as a reflection, because there was a part of yourself that you just weren't loving or were rejecting. And I was like, oh, the key is to love that part of yourself and accept it rather than trying to cut it out.
Or change it.
Or change it.
Heal it.
Or heal it.
Yeah.
even the healing comes in the loving, which might sound kind of cliche, but that actually landing in my body versus conceptually knowing that, it took me seeing someone who I love so much struggling with loving themselves. And like, oh shit, okay. She deserves love. I deserve love. I deserve to accept even the darkest parts of myself. And it's only by doing that that I think I'll be able to transmute it and grow with it. So here's the poem. I will read it now. I love my darkness. I love my darkness because it is a part of me. It does not glisten like the light. It does not illuminate the beautiful vistas of my soul. It does not radiate out, help the plants grow and bring life everywhere it goes. Yet I love it still. I love my darkness for its deep mystery, for the depths that cannot be fathomed, for its pain, for its suffering, for its sacrifice. Were it not for my darkness, I would not be whole. The trunk of my tree would be torn by the faintest wind, without such strong roots. I love my darkness for its understanding, for its empathy, for its reminder that this place is my home only temporarily. My true home awaits. But even there, I hope my darkness follows me, for I love my darkness all the more for its flaws. The greatest mountains cast the largest shadows, and yet there the animals flock in search of shade. And when the sun sets, it is in the darkness that they will finally rest after a long day in the light.
Woo!
Thank you. And so that's go ahead.
First of all, beautiful. I
Thanks.
wanted to share what Scott shared. He says, when we get out of our comfort zones, we surprise ourselves with what our capabilities really are. I envy you, 3 of you, in Start Opportunity. You all have to have the optimistic experience. Yeah.
I was just thinking about how lucky we are to be called into a position, because a part of me was like, oh damn, I have to go and perform this thing in front of people. I was like, no, you get to, and it's such a blessing because it does push you into your highest potentiated self. It pushes you into what you know you are inside. And that's also why I'm so excited in the next couple weeks to be able to bring everyone in, like bring someone on through, video chat and have them do it as well, so that it's not just us isolated having this experience, because everybody deserves it. Everybody does.
Totally.
Yeah.
And just to talk a little bit about your poem, I love the part where you say the largest mountains cast the biggest shadows. And can you speak a little bit to that?
It actually comes from a quote that I'll read, which was the inspiration for the poem in a lot of ways. It was our conversation we had that night, and then this quote. And it's a Carl Jung quote, who I'm a big fan of. And by the way, tomorrow morning I'm teaching a class on the hero's journey. I'll talk a lot about Jung and Joseph Campbell, so just a little plug there since it's coming up. But the Carl Jung quote is, "How can I be substantial if I do not cast a shadow? I must have a dark side also if I am to be whole." And I just really thought about that, how if you're going to be big, you're going to cast a shadow. You have to. There has to be that root if there's going to be those branches coming up. And rather than rejecting that side of yourself and keeping yourself small, by embracing it and loving it, it transforms it in a way. Like, I feel like I have a relationship with my shadow side at this point where I really love it and admire it and appreciate it. And it's a strength for me that I can pull on when there isn't maybe that light that's shining down, when maybe things aren't happy. I know that I have that there. So,
and I think of some of like the greatest artists throughout history, and like they struggle so much with that dark side, and I feel like because there's like that rejection of it or the suppression of it, and so like many amazing artists throughout history have like relied on drugs and alcohol to like there's so much of that darkness, but in it also contributes to their genius, but instead of like stepping into it and just like feeling it out and being like, this is a part of me too. There's it becomes distorted, but like it's kind of essential in making like really amazing art, is like having that rawness of both, of the light and the dark, you know, the yin, the yang, the feminine, the masculine. Like you have to balance them and know that like they are complementary. I mean, amazing art is truthful art, and if you're going to be truthful to the human experience, then you have to incorporate the dark side of it too, which is, again... And you can do that in a healthy way, like you can acknowledge it. Well, I come back to like Hermeticism, which teaches that all things that are seemingly separate are really the same, and just to various degrees. So light, dark are both love, just at different degrees on the spectrum. I love the quote, darkness is light that hasn't been loved yet. Yeah. Yeah. Totally. Yeah. Totally. Cool. Mia's turn. Mia, you want to share a little something? What did that other comment say?
Paisley says, wow, wonderful poem.
Thanks, Paisley.
And Alex Sharks gave you a little...
Okay.
Thanks,
guys.
That's what's up, Alex.
Also, I wanted to speak to Scott's comment at the end. He said something about like, how lucky we are to have this experience.
He said, I envy you and opportunity you all have to have the optimistic experience.
So that's literally what we're doing right now, is bringing the optimistic experience to you guys.
Yes.
So you guys can also experience the magic of everything we in this place has to offer. So envy no longer. Yeah.
Join us.
One of us. So I just wanted to say that real quick.
We can let Maybe come in.
Maybe soldier.
Dog cam.
Maybe was like, one of us. I want to be one. You can hang out.
Alex says, haha, loved the love for the dark side. We'll meditate with it.
Yes.
Think about it. Come to class in the morning if you want to hear more.
Yeah, his class is awesome.
Cool. Okay, so originally I was going to play a ukulele song, but you, Georgia, really inspired me to step out of my comfort zone and do something I've literally never done before, which is share something that I like just wrote.
Wow.
I just wrote this at 4:44. Like I checked the time when I was like beginning to write. I was like, oh, it's 4:44. So let me just like take a moment. 4:44. Creative flow, just let it go. I want to share my voice, but whenever I set that intention, it's hard. Hard to get the words out in the right way when I'm thinking about what they'll say. And is this okay? Am I a good artist if I rhyme, if I keep track of time? Is this fine? Please, for the love of God, get out of my mind. For the love of God, let me be me. Oh, what was that? Did I just break free? My heart is open. I love you. Do you love me? It's okay if you don't. I will always hold that frequency. I'm not afraid of you seeing me into my mind. I'm not afraid of falling blind. Every breath is a work of art. Every step is worth in a word. There is no one more deserving than you. Yes, each one of you. It doesn't matter if it makes sense. Just pull out a pen and write. Don't think about, is this good, but is this right? Which is a Matt Con quote at the end.
Yes.
I love that.
Thank you.
Wasn't expecting to cry, but
I saw it coming. Come on.
It's a Mia staple.
Yeah.
If I don't cry, is it really Mia? Is it really Mia?
Aw, thank you for sharing
That's such
that.
beautiful writing too.
Yeah,
I've never heard your writing like that.
Yeah, I mean, because I never shared, and like, I literally wasn't expecting to share that.
Wow.
But that's when I like started writing. I was like, anytime I start writing something and then start thinking about if I were to share it, then it just like clogs me up, and then I'm like, and then I'm thinking about, you know, does this rhyme? Is this good? Is this bad?
You're judging it.
And it's like, I want to be able to write something with the intention of sharing it and also being able to flow at the same time, which ultimately ended up happening. So that's great, but it like tends to be a thing that comes up for me a lot. It's like,
I feel like MattCon's episode is like speaking to everything that's happening right now, because like he speaks to this in the episode, and he talks about getting out of your own way so that you can actually come through.
so true.
And like it's so true, like the judgment and like the perfectionism, like when you just step out of the way and you like get out of your own head, out of the ego and out of the judgment, and you just come like heart-centered, it just flows.
You know, one of the greatest like gifts or teachings that my first acting teacher gave me was, if you're nervous, that means you have talent. Ooh. If you're scared, if you're worried about what other people think, if you're this, if you're that, it means you have talent because you have heart, because you care, because it means something to you. And then it's just letting go of that, of course, because that will stop you. But it's like, am I worthy? Am I an artist? All these questions that people ask themselves. It's like, if you're asking yourself the question, am I an artist? You are an artist. And just let yourself flow. And even if you're not, I think you're an artist.
Everyone's an artist. Everyone is a creator. We are made in the image of the creator. Like, we are meant to create in whatever way that is. You know, there's different facets, different avenues, but like bringing that passion and that creative flow to whatever you are doing, like that is.
But especially if you're asking yourself the question, like, am I? I don't think I am. If you're doubting yourself, it's like, no, that is your subconscious, your higher self knocking on the door, being like, bro, it's time to start. Let's do this.
So Mia got some really wonderful comments that I want to share.
Yes.
Alex sent you a big heart.
Heart back to you, Alex.
And then Scott said, "Love you, Mia Mystic. Never be afraid."
Oh, I fucking love you, Scott.
And Draco said, "Wow," with a little crown emoji, meaning you're a queen. And he said, "Thank you for sharing that, Mia."
Thank you for listening.
And then we also had Julie say, "I just downloaded that Fia song and it was 4 minutes and 44 seconds long."
Oh my god.
I was meant to hear that song and your words.
Whoa.
Thank you.
Yay!
That is so cool.
That is
So
why
beautiful.
we're here doing this.
Wow,
is like,
that's amazing.
thank you, yeah. Mia, do you want to talk a little bit more about like what you were feeling and going, like, I don't know, about like reading it and writing it and just like about it?
Yeah, well, I actually write a lot, like all the time. Poems, journal entries, flow of thought, just like this whole journal is just like literally full. But I don't often share my writing. What I do share is my songs and my music. And for some reason, well, I know why, like writing is more vulnerable to me, because it's like, it's more like, I feel like a song is more like I can kind of hide behind the like melody or the like, I don't know, for some reason like speaking is more, I don't know, it seems more vulnerable to me, because it's like almost like having a conversation, I guess. And so I don't share my writing that often, but recently I've been having like inspiration to make like more like spoken word videos, because I made one a few months ago, and I really enjoyed it, and I was thinking like, ooh, I really want to make another spoken word video. So I started just like, whenever I write, I just keep that in mind of like, ooh, maybe I'll use this one for the video, or this one, or this one, or this one. But then I realized like every time I would think that, it would stop me from like, it would like stop my flow. Every time I would think like, ooh, maybe I'll use this one to post. it was just like, and I just started to get really annoyed. So I wrote about it. You know, because the first line is like, I want to share my voice, but whenever I set that intention, it's hard to get the words out in the right way. So it's like, yeah, whenever I'm having a creative block, I just start writing about the creative block, and then usually that
frees
sets it
you
free.
up.
Just like writing what's present.
Free writing.
Yeah.
Stream of consciousness.
Yeah, like what's exactly there.
That's it. Yeah. Have you ever read The Artist's Way?
Mm-mm.
It's an amazing book. I also encourage everyone who has not done The Artist's Way to do it. It's like a workbook, and there's like prompts throughout the week. It's kind of like a 12-step program of creativity and like just tapping into higher creativity. And you start every morning with morning pages, and it's like stream of consciousness where you're just like writing.
It's cool.
And then you have like an artist date each week, so you go with yourself and you like do something, and it's like really fun. And there's prompts throughout the workbook, and like I've done it once. I definitely want to do it again, but that's like another really cool tool.
It's a book, you said?
Yeah, I have it. You can borrow it.
Cool. I like that.
Cool. So, hello, gentle sparrow.
Oh, hi, you guys. What's going on?
So Robbie,
he comes through.
if you guys checked out the
Sit
live
places
stream
with me?
this morning, Robbie was playing some music, and I think he's gonna join us again
Okay,
now.
well, can I come and
Mia,
hop
do
in
it.
the seat?
You don't have
Alright.
to leave though, Mia.
Mia, come and just
Okay, I
come
won't
and-
leave. I'm just
come
reading
and just
chat.
hover.
Yeah, cover.
Hi everyone.
How are you, Robbie?
I'm
Hey,
good.
Robbie.
I was in a deep nap when you came and knocked on my door.
I know.
And
I'm
I was
happy
like
that you
so
came out.
slumberful that I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna make it down, but I made it down.
You did. Thank you.
Here I am. I mean, if there's an open mic, I'm generally gonna be there.
Yeah.
So that's what's up. I have an idea of a song I'd like to do.
Yeah?
Yeah.
What are you thinking?
Well, do you want to guess what song I'm gonna do?
I can guess.
Okay, we gotta give background on this song. We gotta.
So, Gentle Sparrow is an amazing artist, songwriter, but he's also a channeler of soul songs.
Yes.
And couple songs. I don't know if you want to go into that more, but it's like the coolest.
I mean, I started writing songs for Bridie, my beloved, who's over there, and then I started writing songs for my friends. Like when my friends would get married, I would write them a cute song, and it all kind of escalated from that. I started realizing that I had an ability to kind of talk with somebody and just sort of perceive them in 5-dimensional space, and then a song would just be like, zoop, and then I just had to open up my ears, and then I could just kind of grab the song out of the air.
He does it so fast.
Yeah, usually about 15 minutes to half an hour after. I mean, I'll talk with you guys for like 40 minutes or so and take notes. And my dad is a therapist, a psychologist, so I think I inherited a bit of his like inquisitive nature and intuition.
Now that you mention it, it felt a little bit
Yeah.
like
It's almost like therapy. It's almost therapy, but I'm not solving any problems for you. I'm just figuring out what your energy is and what your essence is and what wants to be expressed. And then the song that comes through is kind of like just kind of like a flag almost in the energetic space, a flag that you get to wave and be like, look who I am, I'm so beautiful, you know. And so we had a beautiful session the other night, and I dropped in with these two, and I got to learn all about their love story, which is adorable. They're so sweet.
We'll have to share it with you guys. We have a reaction video to when he actually made the song, and we'll share that. We'll share that on our story or something, and you guys can see when it all happened.
So basically, what the song that decided to come through was the feeling of realizing that you're in love. And for these two, it was like, you know, they're young, so it's like the first time really that they understand what deep spiritual love affair that awakens you and activates you, what that's really about. Oh, I got goosebumps remembering that. Look at that. So I wrote that song, and I think it's called In the Ocean of Your Eyes.
Yeah.
And you guys kind of know it, so feel free to like sing along. And guys, just
It's
watch.
been stuck in my head.
Watch how cute they are when their love story is revealed in song, and they like look at each other. It's just so adorable. And if any of you guys want your own spirit songs. I'm doing this as an online offering. You can hit me up at my website, gentlesparrow.love, or on Instagram at gentlesparrowmusic. Oh yeah. So someday this will be like, I'll do this on like Lightning in a Bottle festival stage or whatever. When the world comes back to normal, and everyone will sing along because everyone's gonna relate to your like sweet innocent love.
I'll move this up.
Come close to me. I feel safe when I'm next to your heart. Come set me free. I'm ready to shine like the brightest star. Whatever will be, will be. Trust in the flow of eternity. You and me. Let me hold you, I'll wrap you in my arms a little too long. That's it. Hold you for one more song. In the ocean of your eyes, I swim in the cold of my heart's sunrise. Oh, and I'm so surprised. I'm washed away and I'm letting it go. And I let the tears flow. And I'm high on you. Stone cold sober, but I fly in the sky with you. Oh, 'cause baby, you're my highest truth. I'm gonna fly with you. 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 You're a burning hot flame. Melted the ice around my heart. And I'm not afraid. Lying naked in your arms. It's what I dream, you dream. Hearts beat to the drum of eternity. You and me. And I know we've danced together many lives. I wanna go one more time. In the ocean of your eyes, I swim in the gold of my heart's sunrise. And I'm so surprised. I'm washed away and I'm letting it go. And I let the tears flow. And I'm high on you. Stone cold sober, but I fly in the sky with you. Oh, 'cause baby, you're my highest truth. I'm gonna fly with you. 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 And I know I deserve this. And I know I am worth this. 'Cause you feel like home. So I'm letting it flow. And I know I deserve this. And I know I am worth this. 'Cause you feel like home. So I'm letting it go. In the ocean of your eyes, swim in the gold of my heart's sunrise. Oh, and I'm so surprised. I'm washed away and I'm letting it go. And I let the tears flow. And I'm high on you. Stone cold sober, but I fly in the sky with you. Oh, 'cause baby, you're my highest truth. I'm gonna fly with you. 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 how cute they were?
I know.
I got a little shy.
Paisley Rose said, "I love this," and we even had Draco singing along with us. Said, "In the ocean of your eyes," with little ocean and eye emojis. And then Scott just shared, "That song filled my heart with so much warmth. Thank you so much for sharing it with us. I'd love to hear it on the radio someday."
It will be.
It will be.
It will be.
It will be.
It's
Yeah.
it's
That's
a hit.
coming.
Such a hit.
Aw.
Such a hit. Hi, Mom.
Hi, Mama.
Me as mom, a loyal supporter.
Yeah.
She's always here.
True fan.
That's so sweet. Thank you guys so much for the love.
Thank you. So beautiful. We have more songs and more poetry and
Who's next?
I don't know.
I have a poem I'd love to share.
Yeah.
Why don't you take the hot seat?
Hey,
Come in here.
Karen.
This is Karen.
Karen.
Karen usually doesn't live over here with us, but during quarantine she's joined us, and it's been the best blessing.
So awesome.
Like,
Thank you guys. Yeah, and this poem that I'm gonna share, it's called The Universe, and I actually wrote it like a week or two before this whole quarantine happened, and it was something that came to me. I had an experience where I really just like fully and deeply and completely felt the complete oneness with the universe and the absolute trust in the unfolding of events. And in retrospect, I really understand why this happened for me when it did, because then when this quarantine happened, and for me, like Bradley said, I don't live here at the Mystic Manor. This isn't my typical life. I'm in grad school. I'm like fully in the system, working hard every day. And so when everything kind of fell apart and things started going online, my life got completely shifted. I'm like, the job that I worked at, I'm not going to return to. It's closed and it's done and it's gone. And my classes that I've been going, this was my last semester with classes, and I'm never going back to those classes. There's people I'll never see again. And my plans moving forward for the rest of my graduate program are maybe not going to happen the way that I thought, but I've had complete trust that this is exactly as it was supposed to be, that every moment leading up to it and everything that has happened that has brought me here feels completely synchronistic. And so when this all happened and I found out I wasn't returning to work and I wasn't returning to my classes and my internship that I planned for the summer might not happen, of course I had some moments of sadness, but 98% of me was like, yes, I get to be here at the Mystic Manor. I get to support my family who supported me through grad school in so many ways. I now get to help support them to bring this message, this optimistic lifestyle to everyone else. And so I'm really excited to share this poem with you guys, because to me, it really was, I had this experience and it was a really ethereal experience. And so I wanted to put it into words so that I can always go back to this poem and I can read it and I can bring myself back to that place of deep knowing and deep trust. And I hope that you guys hear it too. Okay, the universe. Constantly unfolding and folding back into itself. Every shift impacts everything. Push and pull in infinite directionality. Everything is infinitely expansive and minuscule, endless and constantly emerging. Every moment is perfect, the only possible amalgamation of all that is. Every action propelled by awareness of preceding nows, sucked forward by inevitable nows. The only experience to be felt is now. There is no how, there is no why. There's nothing more than all there is, and all there is now.
I love it.
Lovely.
Thank you guys.
And I love what you said about wanting to capture a moment, because that's why I love poetry so much. If I'm feeling a feeling that's just super heightened, even if it's too much, if it's a negative feeling, I can write a poem, and 80% of that emotion is then stored in this thing that I can always revisit, and it always brings me back to that place. Yeah.
Right. And this is something that Mia has shared some of her writings. I didn't even realize that you were so, like, haven't been sharing your writings, because you were so comfortable to share some writings with me earlier in the week. And this is something that we talked about, is that it's so cool that you read this writing that could be from 5, 6, 10 years ago, and just in an instant, you're brought right back to that feeling. You're brought right back to the moment that you're describing, and also the moment that you were writing the piece. And so it's like this just amazing little time capsule.
Yeah. Totally is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Love it.
And Scott says, we love Mama Mystic with a heart.
That's my mom.
Oh, Mama Mystic, I love it.
People call her Mama Mia Mystic.
That's so cute.
That's cute.
Mama Mia.
We got lots of hearts for your share. The universe makes 0 mistakes.
Yes,
Oh, yeah.
absolutely.
Bree Fresh said, "Yay!"
Bree, I love you.
Big smile, heart.
Infinity sign. Ooh.
I'll share one more.
So insightful. Thanks for sharing, Karen. Yeah,
Thank you.
I can't remember exactly what the line was, but essentially it was like, let me see. Everything is infinitely expansive and minuscule, endless and constantly emerging. And it's like, to me, that makes me think of like, all the little things matter, you know, like every little thing, even if it's minuscule, like has this ripple effect, and it just like expands infinitely. And for me, it just makes me think like, I matter. Everything, how I show up matters. Like it all has an effect, even if I don't see it, it does. And it's like,
exactly. And that was the experience that I was describing was, honestly, at the time, it was really intense and really overwhelming, because it felt like, oh my gosh, if I literally just swipe my hand, I could change the entire universe. Like, everything could fall apart, everything I know. It's like, because everything is so deeply interconnected. And what I mean by everything is so expansive and at the same time minuscule is because everything is happening on this massive scale where literally my words and my vibrations are so connected to someone across the entire earth that could somehow have this like butterfly effect and impact them in some unknown way. And at the same time, the only reason that is possible is because of sound particles and air particles, this minuscule like fabric of the universe. And so when I was in this moment that I was writing about, it was honestly really, for a moment, scary and overwhelming. And it felt like, oh my gosh, this is so much power that I'm tapping into, that literally my every thought, movement, sound, anything, even if I don't move, that's going to make an impact on everything. And then from that moment, I chose to just lean into like the excitement of how perfect it is. And rather than feeling like, oh gosh, like, well then what am I going to do? Like, how should I act? Really having this like profound knowing and understanding that whether I move or I don't, or I say it or I don't, or I act or I don't, it's all completely perfect and exactly as it's supposed to be.
That's surrender
and it's
to the
such
now.
a relief.
And
so it's surrendering to that now. And so that full knowing of like the only thing that is to be felt is right now. So having those thoughts about like, what do I do next? How do I act next? What do I say? Who do I go to? All of these things, it's like just really coming back to like, right now is perfect. And that's all that matters.
And letting your intuition lead you. Like, you know where to go. You know when to say it and when not to. Like, it is a knowing, because you are...
You're it.
You are it.
You're it.
Exactly.
And if once you like, when you can find that space where you're really so present and so now, you can actually feel that push and that pull. And that's where your intuition comes in. Yeah.
It's energy, yeah.
That's where that intuition comes in, where it's like when you're so embodied in that now moment, you naturally start to feel where you're being pulled, and you can just naturally go there, and you naturally say the things, and it's all just an experiment.
Kiana says, damn, I just got this same exact thing in a tarot reading. I just need to focus on the now and let the universe take control.
Yes.
Beautiful. If you're
All the
into
signs.
tarot, yeah, if you're into tarot, it sounds like we're very connected. I mean, we all are, but I'll be doing my tarot card readings every Monday night at 5 p.m. So please come in there, and I would love to continue to dive into these like thoughts further.
And
Thank
Scott
you for
says,
that.
I agree on our actions affecting everything in connection with us. I'm vibing with you.
Yes, Scott.
Shout out Scott.
Love it. Shout out Scott.
Vibes.
Beautiful.
Beautiful.
Vibes.
Did you want to share another poem?
Should we do one more song?
One more song, and
Mia,
then
did you want to do a song?
I'll do a song.
Okay. Maybe one song and then one poem and then.
yeah.
That feels
I
good.
did kind of want to experiment with maybe ending it with like an improvised song. I don't know how people feel about
Would it?
that, but I feel like it could be cool. Maybe. What do you think? Maybe says
Maybe's
maybe.
into it.
Maybe's wagging her tail.
Maybe's
So
into
we're
it.
So Mia, what are you gonna sing for us?
Let me think. Which song shall I do? My new song. How about
Yes,
that?
please. I've had it stuck in my head.
So here's a song that I wrote a few days ago. It's called Trust. I know some things can feel a bit scary. I know some things can feel a bit heavy. You're just a girl. You can't save the world. I know the future is unknown, but I know things that you don't know. If you fall into me, I'll show you everything. Now is the time to trust. Follow me if you must. Now is the time to trust. Open your heart and jump. Would you believe me if I told you all you have to do is let go? Would you trust me if I told you to forget everything you think you know? Would you believe me if I told you that you already know? Would you trust me if I told you to surrender to the flow? Now is the time to trust. Follow me if you must. Now is the time to trust. Open your heart and jump. Trust, 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 Yay!
You got a lot of love on that one.
Thanks,
Your
guys.
biggest fan, Paisley Rose.
Ah,
Cool.
Mama, that's my mom.
Yes, Drake Draco said,
Love
yes, trust.
Yes.
Aw.
And your
Thank you,
mom also
Draco.
said, claps and hearts, surrender to the flow.
Hey.
And then we got Nika Williams says, thank you, really needed to hear something like this. The words are soul touching. Thank
The
you.
words are
The words are soul touching.
Thank you, Nico. I really, really appreciate that. I needed to hear it too, so that's why I wrote it.
Lots of heart eyes, hearts, and light frequency said beautiful.
Hey.
So beautiful.
Love you, light frequency.
Lots
So
of hearts
fitting
coming
for
in.
right now. You know,
Yeah.
just trusting that it's all happening for us.
Totally.
Thanks,
you,
Draco, Nico, Paisley, light frequency, all the people.
Thank you, Mia.
Beautiful. Love it. Well, what time is it?
It's
We're at
5:59.
6 o'clock.
5:59.
So, would you like to close us out with a poem?
Sure. I
Sure.
could do that.
Okay.
So this poem actually, I wasn't gonna share it, but since we did the whole love song that was written for us, this is the first poem I wrote Georgia. And so it's all about. Yeah. I don't write a lot of love poems either, but this one just came through me. And it's really though about love that shows up that you're not expecting, and how you cope with that, and what you do with it, and yeah, I'll just read it. What do you say to what's felt far away when it comes to your door on a random day? My mind is all gone and my heart's all a blur. It's beating and thumping and I'm sighing slurs. I feel I've been caught up in some whirlwind, a natural disaster from which to defend. There isn't much hope, but one path that's right, to swallow it whole and ingest the light. It's her that I've seen in dreams from afar, a visage of something unscathed and unharmed, return to a home that I never knew, holding my breath, and now I'm turning blue. Fragile as paper and clear as glass, only one thing that I'd ever ask, to be free to love you from near or from far, to be free to love everything that you are. The thing that you've given has no price, and so nothing is owed, no roll of the dice. In friendship or love, in silence or voice, my heart has decided its final choice.
I love that. Thank you. The last line, my heart has chosen its final choice. And when we first got together, it was like, it's scary to love someone. It's scary to love someone this much.
It wasn't my brain's choice. My brain was like, oh, let's take this slow. And once and my heart was like, nope, you're in, dude.
Yeah.
And
And I'm gonna like drop more Matt Kahn stuff. In his episode, he talks about like loving, even if you're going to lose, like knowing that that is true enlightenment. That like I'm gonna love and I may lose, but I choose to love anyways. And so when we first got together, we were always like, choose love over fear, choose love over fear, and that's a little nod to that in the last line. Like
throughout it too, because it's like from near, from far. There's nothing owed. I really wanted to come into it without all these expectations that people usually bring with love, and just give my heart without needing
unconditional.
Exactly, unconditional.
Yeah. Beautiful. And that's the love that we all deserve.
Beautiful poetry, says Paisley.
Thanks, Paisley.
Thank you.
Yeah, that was just, I'll finish out with that. That was one of my favorite takeaways from the Matt Kahn episode, was when one of the retreat guests asked, what would you say to someone that's fearful to get into a relationship or to receive love because of getting hurt? And he said, you just have to tell yourself, don't you too deserve love? Even if someone's going to love you just for a moment and then take that love away or hurt you, don't you deserve that moment of love?
And giving yourself enough love to weather any storm, to weather the storm of, okay, even if I gave you all my love and you were gone the next day, I still can love myself through that.
Exactly.
And, that's a beautiful thing.
So beautiful. So go rewatch that Matt Kahn episode, or watch it if you haven't seen it, because there's a lot in there.
A lot of good nuggets in there.
Patty says, loving the love.
Woo!
Paisley
Thank you
says,
guys all for showing up and
Yes,
being here.
thank you so much so much co-creation.
I
It was
can't wait to
beautiful.
hear some of your voices on here and
Yes.
to co-create this like really with you all. So that's
Yes.
coming.
So if you enjoyed this experience, there are many more to come. We have play shops 7 days a week, twice a day at 8:30 a.m. and 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And in 2 weeks, we'll be starting our re-membership program. So if you're interested in getting involved in that and joining us for more play shops,
Yes.
you can go to patreon.com/weareoptimistic for more details. Love you all so much.
Love you guys.
And tune in tomorrow morning at 8:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time for Brad's play shop on the hero's journey. He goes into
Yes.
Joseph Campbell's work and a bunch of other stuff, and it's going to be really cool.
We'll get deep.
Aw,
We'll get
you
deep.
guys says beautiful. We will be at the manor soon.
Yay.
After all this is over.
Can't wait.
Yay.
Jenna
Love you.
says, I heard the song in the poem. Thank you for the space tonight. I really needed it.
Aww.
Thank you guys.
Thank you. Love you.
Love you
See you
guys.
soon.
Bye bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
It's like our new sign off.
Yeah.